Okay, welcome ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining me on this daily morning run. This is what I do every morning. It's a quick little run. It's meant not to be too overwhelming so I don't start making excuses about not wanting to go running. This right here, this is the beginning of it, and I call this burdock alley because those plants around the edges are burdock. Now, what I'm approaching here in just a moment, as I kind of turn this corner, I will start going up a hill, and I call that hill Heartbreak Hill. Now, if I look like I'm running funny right here, is because I realized that my shorts were falling down because I hadn't tied them up. So there, now I've tied them up. And I'm running up this hill. And here's the thing about this hill. I call it Heartbreak Hill because, you've just started your run and you're thinking, yeah, man, I'm so fit. I go trail running. And this hill that you come up to right at the beginning, it just kind of takes a lot out of you. And I always find it makes me question, like, okay, how fit am I? Am I really that fit? But I know I can make it up. And so I just keep going. But I tell you, it's an interesting thing. Fitness, various aspects of fitness, like whatever. How long of a shift can you play in hockey? You just, after a while, well, I know I can play for 2 minutes. And so even though your body might be telling you, no, you can't, you can't do this, you just know that you can. So you just ignore what your body is telling you and you just do it. So right around this piece of trail, this is where I'm recovering from that Heartbreak Hill. And it takes me a while to kind of to catch my breath and to start kind of breathing normal again. So right around here, you get to enjoy a bit of a downgrade, and I'm catching my breath, and now I'm feeling like, okay, yeah. Okay, we can do this. Now, right around here, if I'm doing this as the sun is setting, the sun would be setting right in front of me. Now, this is not in the early morning. You can see the sun's pretty high. I try to get out here like at 7:30, and it's much cooler. This was 29 degrees Celsius. I got to tell you, it was pretty darn warm. There are spots, especially right around here, that I've always found, for whatever reason, the temperature changes abruptly. Like right here, typically, all of a sudden, you feel much cooler as you run into these trees. And in the spring, when the ice is thawing, you find that, when you run over some unmelted, a big chunk of ice, feeling the cold that's coming off of that ice versus patches where there is no ice at all. It's amazing. You can run, I swear, you can easily find yourself running from one point in the forest to another. You could leave a certain point and right away you can feel like, 4 or 5 degrees Celsius temperature drop or increase. Where I really noticed that today was right at the end. I'll point it out. A little spot we call Alice in Wonderland Trail, But as I was walking through that today, I was like, holy cow, this air is so warm and so moist, I can barely breathe. So yeah, I felt like I was like drinking the air. But right here, it's pretty nice. Now, what I'm coming out of here, you might not be able to appreciate this from the video, but I've been kind of running in a horseshoe, and we're just coming up to the main path here. So it's like a little horseshoe that breaks off of the main path. And so for a normal run, I would have turned right here, but I've turned left and I'm heading back, quite frankly. That's how short this run is. I'm heading back. And so this run turned out to be like a 12-minute run. In my mind, I was kind of saying, hey, no, it's a 20-minute run, 20 minutes. But I knew it was more like maybe 15 minutes. But it's not even that. It's more like a 12-minute run. So here, nice little downgrade, getting to catch my breath here. This tree just fell, not literally today or something, but I just noticed it a couple of days ago. So yeah, it fell within the last week. So this here, my buddies who run with me in here and we call this the cedar forest because it's a forest of planted cedars. They're all in very nice, neat rows. Sometimes people have commented on my videos like, what a terrible forest, but this is just this area of forest. But they did ask a very good question, which is, well, what was that before? Well, was this just a big open hill? Because this is essentially the top of Joker's Hill, what is called Joker's Hill. We're coming to what we would call the lookout, the best vantage point from Joker's Hill right up here pretty soon. I don't know what kind of view we'll really get because I don't really go out to the lookout. But yeah, right around here, if we kind of looked off to the left, you can kind of see the lights from town. So now we're running down Joker's Hill. It's all sand here. That's what's crazy. It's sand, and yet we're up on the hill. You see that sand? It's like you're running on the beach. So I guess this was a riverbed at some point. All that sand. Pretty crazy. But sand up high, that's what's weird about it. You'd think if this was a riverbed, well then how is it up? How is it a hill? And I don't notice sand here now on this part of the trail. This is part of the main loop, and this trail is just like normal dirt, just normal soil. Now here's another cedar forest, but it's a different one, and we call this part of the forest Little Red Riding Hood Forest, because to me it just looks like every illustration I ever saw of Little Red Riding Hood walking through the forest to her grandmother's. Is it her grandmother's house? Now right up here, pretty soon I'm going to come to another trail. I'm going to take a sharp left and I'm going to sprint. Here we go. Sprinting. I always sprint right here. Sprint, sprint, sprint. Very quick. It's just like it's a nice length. And it's the end of the run, so I'm like trying to see, do I have it in me? And right there where I jumped, that's because there used to be a log lying across the trail. And the timestamp is 10 minutes and 15 seconds. So obviously what I'm going to try to do is to beat 10 minutes for that little run. That's almost half the time I thought it was. This is a pretty short run, but believe it or not, it's 2 kilometers, almost exactly. I do a longer run in the midweek, about a 3-kilometer run. And then when I run with my trail running buddy Otino on the weekends, he's the fellow who stars in most of my trail running videos, those runs tend to be 6 or 7 kilometers. Goodness, I guess if we add that up, that's 20 kilometers a week. Huh. So this is Alice in Wonderland Trail. Really, it began right at the point where I jumped over the invisible log. And right in here is where I noticed that incredible jump in temperature. A good 4 or 5 degrees Celsius. And I felt like I was really struggling to take in actual oxygen instead of water out of the air. So this is the final little path leading back to the parking lot. I would encourage you to find some nice little 10-minute run, 12-minute, 15-minute run, something that's short enough that you can do it every day to get your day going. It's a great way to start your day. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me today. Stay healthy, stay happy, get outdoors, get active, be kind to each other, and I will see you in the next one.